you, in 1995, quite famously walked off the stage. You ran to, of all places, Belgium. You considered suicide and you were diagnosed with bipolar disorder or manic depression. What I'm so interested is you went on and made a documentary about that, where you talked about, and other people talked about, even though you wanted to be well, even though this was crippling your life in some way, there was something about the creativity of that disorder.
Yes, I mean, bipolar disorder, I call this film The Secret Life of a Manic Depressive, you know, one has to be very, very straightforward about this. You know, manic depression, bipolar disorder is a very morbid condition. And the doctors here, they will be the first to say, you know, this is not something to take lightly. It's something to be diagnosed. It's something, you know, that it does cause, when I say morbid, I mean in the medical sense, it causes death. And it causes deeply unhealthy lifestyles and deep unhappiness for the person inflicted and really hugely for their families and those who love them. And the way I'm often, because I've made this film, asked by people who are in terrible straits of unhappiness or they love someone who is in terrible unhappiness, they ask how to deal with it. If I could answer that, gosh, you know, how happy that would make me. The closest I can come is to say that the mood is your own personal weather. And it's very like the weather. If you go outside and it's raining, it's not you that's made it rain. It has rained and it is real. You can't unthink the rain. You can't say, I'll walk it off and then it'll be sunny. You know, the weather makes up its own mind. And the two mistakes are either to deny that it's raining when it clearly is. It's raining. You know, let's face it. And the other thing is to say, therefore my life is over. It's raining, the sun will now never come out. That's it. Because we all know, in terms of the weather, that it can be a damn nuisance when it's raining, but that the sun will come out. And it's the same if you're a manic depressive. You have a manic episode, you have a depressive. When you're depressed and you think you cannot conceive of such a thing as the future, life is so black you cannot imagine a tomorrow. Just everything is just awful. Your energy is slow and there's nothing possible in life. It's terrible. It's actually painful. It's bad, really bad. It can be, for some people, so bad that they really have to end their lives in some way. They feel it anyway. But the fact is, it will come out. And in the case of a bipolar person, it won't just be normal, it'll then go super normal. It will become incredibly sunny. And rather than having no sense of the future, you plan for 100 futures. You are so excited with the possibility of what you can do in this world, with your creative power, with your entrepreneurial ideas. Your grandiosity knows no bounds. It's an extraordinary feeling. Terrible for people around you. But you know, I asked everybody I spoke to if there was a button and they could press the button and they would no longer be, you know, manic depressives, they would no longer have this bipolar disorder, would they press the button? And only about 2 said yes, because that manic state is a thing to be treasured sometimes. I mean...
And is that true for you?
Yes, it is. I'm very lucky. I have really what they call cyclothymia. It's in America they call it bipolar light. It is a more manageable version, but it does have its bad moments. But you know, I spoke to people who had taken electric drills to their brain to kill themselves. I spoke to a man who was really extraordinary, called Rod Harvey. He had been a commander in the Royal Navy. He'd actually had a position on the Royal Yacht Britannia, as it happens, with which the Queen and the royal family used to have as their yacht. And he was a charming and splendid, promising officer, and he developed this condition. It became very, very bad. He had to leave the Navy, then he couldn't hold down a job. At one point, he was in a hospital being looked after, and his depression was so black, he got up, was supposed to have some security, but he short-circuited it, and he walked in front of a lorry, and he smashed both his legs. Now, he's the first to say, how could I do that to the lorry driver? For one thing, it's terrible. And he shows me his legs, that he can walk. They slowly, with the number of times they had to re-break them, set in metal. I said, the agony of both your legs, you could see the scars on it. He said, yes, but do you want to know something? It was nothing like as terrible as the pain that made me stand in front of that lorry. And that's the thing you have to understand with that kind of depression. It is not just, snap out of it, You know, things will get better. Look on the bright side. It is an illness. It is a real physical descent of something quite terrible into people's minds. And if you say to someone, I'm asthmatic or I'm diabetic, they don't go, oh, yeah, oh goodness. But if you say I'm bipolar, there is a little look that can flicker in their eyes, and it's tricky. Not in Hollywood, of course. I interviewed my good friend Carrie Fisher, who you may remember as Princess Leia,
yes.
The daughter of Debbie Reynolds, wonderful, amazing person. And she describes herself as the poster child for bipolar. It is sort of ironic because she's had a very tough and extraordinary life, as you'll know if you've seen or read Postcards from the Edge. But she said, Stephen, you got it all. I said, what do you mean? She said, gay, Jewish, and bipolar. How can you fail in Hollywood?
Congratulations.
Thank you.